Tyler and Tyrell here from FutureDDS, and we have a very, very, very special episode for you all today. It's something new. One of our followers, Nick, actually reached out to us and asked us if we could kind of have like a consult type of session. We asked him if it would be okay if we recorded the session so that everybody could benefit from it. You know, he's in a unique situation, but we think that it applies to a couple of people within our audience. So he thankfully said yes, and here we are today. I'm basically going to give him some advice about his situation. He's going to ask us some questions. We're going to answer them, and hopefully we give him some great advice and to get into his ultimate goal of getting into dental school. So how are you doing today, Nick?
I'm doing well, thank you. How are you guys?
Making it, man. Busy,
Yep.
but you know.
Working.
Yeah, sure.
Every day. But Nick, if you can you please kind of introduce yourself to the audience and kind of break down your situation as of right now in regards to you getting into dental school?
Yeah, of course. So my name's Nick. I'm a pre-dental student at a local community college in the Bay Area in California. The reason I wanted to become a dentist is because it's just this mix of art, science, and being able to help people, and I really like that. And then this other aspect was that, you're able to support yourself and you can be your own boss. And I learned that that's really important too. So currently, like I said, I'm at a local community college, Diablo Valley College. And I'm looking to transfer to either UC Berkeley or UC Davis. So that's just my goal for undergrad, but I want to hopefully go to UOP, like that's my first choice. And then if not, UCSF, I want to stay local. I really like the Bay Area. So basically my current situation is, in terms of my application, I know I have really strong grades. I know I have a lot of, shadowing experience in clinic hours because I've been working at one of our friends who's a dentist. I've been working at his clinic since I was 16, and after looking at my hours, I have like 500 hours. So I know I have a lot there. What I know that I'm lacking community service and extracurriculars like that I can get involved with at my school, like clubs. Like I have hobbies, like I ski, I play guitar, I cook, but I'm not really involved in groups, and I know I should get involved. And if you don't mind, can I ask you guys some questions regarding my situation?
Of course.
All right. So I haven't decided on my major yet, and I thought it would be much easier than it is. So I've been oscillating between a biology major and a business major. And the reason I was thinking business was because for the future when I can run my own clinic and potentially make me stand out as a candidate. Because, you always hear, oh, sometimes dental schools like it when you're not the typical bio major.
Right.
And with that said, when I went to the ADA convention in San Francisco, I told UCSF and UOP, I told their booths, I was like, yeah, I'm thinking of becoming a business major. And they gave me this weird look. They were like, and you want to be a dentist? Like it wasn't normal. So, but I kind of understand where they're coming from because they were saying you should take upper division science courses to make you better prepared for dental school. And you can always attain an MBA in dental school as well. They usually have that DDS and MBA program. So basically, I want to ask you, first of all, what do you think is a better choice, to stick to the short-term goal of getting into dental school, or long-term running my own clinic?
Well, I'll go ahead and start because I actually had a business degree, kind of. So I majored in healthcare management. And so it's very interesting. I've never really heard of a school saying that, looking down on somebody for having a business degree versus a science degree. And I thought it was not necessarily favored, but I thought it stood out, to the admissions department. And literally, personally, I don't think it matters, bro. Like, where does your passion lie? And it's okay if, I think that a lot of people feel like they have to have this passion for science. And I don't necessarily think that's true. I feel like if people have a passion to help people, that's what you really need to be a dentist. Because realistically, we're not in the lab every single day as far as mixing different chemicals and things of that nature. Now, of course, you have to be proficient in the anatomy of the human body, of course. But realistically, I feel like as far as like biochem and certain subjects of that nature, we don't deal with that every single day. So granted, you have to be good at sciences, and I think that a lot of dental schools would hope that you were proficient enough, regardless of your major. And what I mean by that is by taking these upper divisional science classes. And as long as you take them and you do well in them, and you show them that you can keep up with the rigor of the different courses, I think that's all that matters. If your passion lies in business, I think that's fine. But of course, and I'm not saying you don't have this, but you definitely have to have a passion for people. So as long as you have both of those two things, passion for people being number one, I don't necessarily think it matters your major at all. I mean, but what do you think?
I mean, just like Tyler, I wasn't necessarily, I didn't have a business major, but I was, I guess, an untraditional applicant, and that was a psychology major. But what I made sure I did was try to tie back the psychology back into dentistry somehow. So when I had the opportunity to do research for psychology, I did something that involved, actually doing something within the dental field, So it's just as long as you tie it back to what your overall goal is at the end of the day. And like you said, if you tie it back into the passion of, again, people and helping people. So, at the end of the day, like, I did research on like the patient provider relationship and trusting in dentistry and why people are afraid of the dentist, like along those lines. So, it's something that definitely still would stand out to admissions department is that, like, okay, first they're gonna look and say, oh, he's a different type of major. Let's take a step further and look and see what else he's doing. Exactly. And then he brought it back to, actually being involved with dentistry in itself. So, he still had that underlying goal, and that common thread of wanting to go to dental school and impact people that way. So.
And the fact that you said that you have all those shadowing hours, you could that's definitely something to mention even within your personal statement in the future,
Right.
Even if you do decide to become a business major, you can always say, look, I was exposed to patient interactions and patient-doctor relationship early on, and I understood the value of that. And that's what made me fall in love with dentistry, because I'm sure that definitely had a part to do with it,
Yeah.
So yeah, as long as they see that you're compassionate towards humans, I think you'll be okay.
Okay, so just follow what I'm passionate about.
Always,
bro. Yeah.
Look, always, regardless.
The way I was thinking is, I know I'm not passionate about a certain subject in undergrad, but I know I'm passionate about dentistry. Okay. So essentially, my goal is to be a dentist. So I just want to. I'll do whatever. I'll sacrifice anything to become a dentist. That's what I was thinking about.
Yeah, man. Like, no. You don't. Like, okay, I'm not going to say I'm passionate about biochemistry, because I'm not. I'm honestly not. Am I passionate about becoming the best dentist that I can be? Absolutely. Yeah. And I think that if you have that passion, that triumphs you having any type of science passion whatsoever.
Or, I mean, for instance, a lot of us want to own our own practices, but like, I'm sure not 100% of people are passionate about balancing spreadsheets or working in payrolls, or it's like, it's little things where it's like, it doesn't have to be your passion. Granted, it's something you need to focus on. You need to do it because obviously it's part of like the overall goal. But like every little thing you do throughout the day, every little thing you do throughout the process won't be something that you're super gung-ho and passionate about.
Right. It's just not
unrealistic. Like taking the DAT, I'm sure nobody's super passionate about like, I want to study and do 1,000 questions a day. Right. Some people love it. Some people will. You will find those people that like that's all they want to do. Like they actually bring every little bit of information they can. But then others are like, I know I need to get to this level to know that I'm not being a detriment to the patient once I get to that.
Right, exactly. I just want to be a good dentist. That's all. But I just want to know maybe these classes will help me, thrive better in dental school, and in the end make me a better dentist. So that's what I was just thinking about.
And one more quick thing, man. My bad. So also, because say you possibly might be doing a business degree, just make sure that, like we said, you have more than just the prereqs. So if I was you, I would kind of make sure you get the micros, of course, get the anatomies, definitely get the molecular bios, get more than the minimum, just to show that you are still able to perform. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so with regard to these prereqs, actually, So my community college offers anatomy and physiology,
Okay.
which are actually one of the two of the recommended courses at UOP that I know of. And so I was thinking, would it be better to take these prereqs at a community college and save money, or should I take them at a 4-year institution? Would that look better?
So I would say it gets kind of tricky. So some schools don't always like accept community college classes because sometimes community colleges don't have the class with the lab, and some schools will require that. You know what I mean? So definitely reach out to the school, some schools that you're interested in, and run it by them first. Say like, oh, okay, well, I'm community college now. I know I have to take these classes. Would you prefer me take them now? Would that be more beneficial, or take them later? And also, you can, like, if you're going to be a business major, like, get as many of the business courses towards your degree as you can, and then you can kind of figure out where you have to work in the other parts of the schedule. Because I'm not sure exactly, if you've taken all the science prerequisites to take the upper level classes, but if you only have a few upper level business courses left to take, like, finish those up, start taking some of those earlier science courses, and then when you have more time and more freedom with your schedule later on, you can pick and choose, like, okay, these are specific classes I can take, and you can build around the science portion at that point. So, like, I would just kind of batch all of the business stuff now, and then batch all the science stuff later, so you're not like running around as much, especially when you're taking like upper level business classes and upper level science classes. Like, I would try to limit that cross as much as possible.
So let's say, for example, if I stuck with a biology major, would you still have the same advice of, would you still recommend me taking these classes towards the, end of my undergrad, or like just take it whenever?
So the only reason why I disagree with that is because realistically, you want to give yourself enough time to take all of these classes, right?
Yeah,
So
right.
knocking out I personally think that when you get science courses from a 4-year university, it might look a little bit more, I don't want to say official, but
Yeah.
I think they'll recognize that a little bit more.
Right.
Because I know even at our school at Tufts, I don't think they take community college science, so I think that you have to take it at a 4-year university. And if that is the case, I say knock out those prereqs sooner than later. Like when you get into the 4-year university, so that near the end, you'll still be taking the higher level courses. You'll be taking, because I know that you have to take those prereqs, which are for dental school, even like within the university, you have to take those prereqs in order to get to the higher level science course also.
Yeah.
And so I saw that a lot when I was in undergrad. People would kind of, oh, well, I'm going to take chemistry my junior year. But hold on.
If you want
to take orgo, and you want to have that on your transcript before you apply to these graduate programs, you need to take chemistry now when we're sophomores, when we're freshmen. Right. So it's all about timing, bro. But if I was you, like Tyrell said, first and foremost, call the schools. If you know that you want to be on the West Coast, call every single West Coast school and get specifics. But keep in mind that a lot might change between the time right now and then the time you're applying. That'll be like, 3 or 4 years. So you really need to kind of keep that in mind. And I mean, I would go with the safe bet and try to take my science courses at the 4-year university.
Also, what you can do to help you like track everything is just map out literally every semester that you have, and figure out you can look on the websites, and I'm sure they have like when the courses are offered, and really like pencil in when you would take these classes, so that by the time you plan to apply, like I guess the fall before you graduate, you will really be able to you'll know for a fact that I'll have this many courses under my belt already. Or like, oh, okay, if I get to this point, I may have to take this class over the summer, like another chemistry class or something like that. Like whatever it is, you'll already like kind of foreshadow what you'll have to do going forward.
Okay. And my last set of questions actually are for you guys, like about your, undergrad. So what were some courses or like, prereqs for dental school that you guys really struggled in personally? And like, what would you have told yourself back then, like to make it better, or, something that if you knew then you would have gotten a better grade, for example?
That's a good question. That's a great question. I'd say I'd say bio classes.
Mhm.
Like the very entry level bio classes. Like I like for some reason I like upper level bio classes more than the entry level because the entry
Oh,
just seem like real broad and you'll try to learn and then it's like oh man I know I'll probably never see any of this stuff again. Like you're learning
yeah,
about like plant bio or like learning about like systems of like
yeah. I'm
kingdom.
currently learning that too.
Yeah, so you're probably just kind of like fluff through it, but at the end of the day, like portions of that are going to come back. So what I would say is just like, I don't know. I wish I would have like, I guess, paid attention more so of like learning as much as I could instead of trying to like dissect and get small details. Like try to study for a test versus just learning information. You know, so
Oh,
like
yeah.
a lot of times you'll just like kind of push it off, like, oh, this is going to be important, this is going to be important, and try to dissect little pieces out that you feel like they would ask for a test.
Mhm.
Whereas though, if you just kind of get a broad overview of everything else kind of it starts to make more sense instead of learning from scratch everything else again,
Mm.
you know, and having to go
Yeah.
back and pick up the basics so you can even understand where you're going for the scope of the next classes. So I think that was one thing that would have helped me. And it was, I mean, same thing for chemistry too. It's just so broad scope that like you kind of just like
So did you focus on the grade more than like learning the concepts? Is that what you're saying?
at the time, yeah. But
Okay.
I was younger. I didn't really like.
Okay. Okay. But like, if you're gonna give advice, you would say, like, just think more about the concepts for dental school, or like, what you said you wanted to learn the concepts better. Was that just for upper division courses or for dental school?
So for, I mean, just in general. So for the classes, I tried to dissect. And I didn't really know how to study like that well, and I think that was probably like one of the big things that I probably should have done better or took more time learning how to study and be more consistent studying than pushing it off because everything seems so basic or so much more entry level that's like okay you're not going to go into that much detail like I can go through and like kind of figure out what you're going to ask me on the test and that was just me being not one to like just put in the time as much so
Right.
you know so I think it just shined through more so in that class because everything seems so entry level and I'm like okay this is just like a regular basic class like chemistry the concepts are a little bit more complex but bio
Right.
it kind of seems like facts like you go
Yeah,
to
memorization.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I think if I would have just went down, like, just took like a couple hours a day or a couple hours, you know, to just consistently look at stuff and learn the overall like basic premise of what they're trying to teach me instead of trying to dissect and look for what they're going to ask me questions like bulwarks and chapters or like oh a slide about this like it's a big slide about this one or a couple major slides about this and trying to dissect it like that I think it would have been easier for me going forward just knowing like having a better baseline like if I'd have
Yeah.
focused more in the earlier classes the later classes probably wouldn't have seemed as complex or as difficult probably that's why
Okay.
yeah.
Awesome. What
Um,
about you, Tyler?
for me, so it's interesting because I definitely agree with Tyrell when he says he wishes that he had, really, really learned the information instead of just like kind of cramming it in.
Right.
But of course, in undergrad, there's
You got
so many
distractions.
things are going on,
Yeah.
So I think that I would tell people it's interesting. I struggled more in I don't know why, but biochem was really hard for me.
Hmm.
I wish if I could go back and really talk to myself, I would tell myself, especially for orgo. I did okay in orgo, but
Hmm.
orgo is a lot more simple than everybody else hypes it up to be.
Yeah.
And I think that, like, granted, now I'm saying that now that I'm in dental school and I'm seeing everything else, but literally, orgo is memorizing roadmaps.
Yeah.
Literally.
Roadmaps.
And there's literally like I mean granted I don't know if you know this or the audience knows this, but there's this thing called a DAT destroyer, right? It was
Hmm.
destroyer. And they have these roadmaps in there. And literally, if you memorize these roadmaps, you can answer every single organic chemistry problem.
Oh,
Literally.
wow.
And it's just like because that was the first class that had that mass of information, it was
Yeah.
intimidating to me. I mean, I don't know if it was the same for you, but literally it was intimidating when I was in undergrad. But now that I'm used to absorbing all this information, I'm just kind of like, I could have, not want to say Orgo would have been a breeze, but if I had just really sat down and memorized these roadmaps of reactions, things would have been a lot easier. So that's something I wish I could have told myself. But I mean, another thing that I really, 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 really wish I could have told myself was really just to buckle down a little bit more, you know?
Yeah.
I think that things would have been a lot easier now. Well, not even now, but in those first 2 years, because at some point it's gonna be hard, you know, and it's like you have to learn it at some point. And either you're gonna struggle in undergrad or you're gonna struggle in the DAT or you're gonna struggle in dental school, you know? I think that that base is so important to really, really have a strong foundation.
Mm-hmm.
Because granted, you might cram for the test like we all did and not really, really learn the fundamentals, but then you have to learn it for the DAT.
Yeah.
And then that's a whole nother level of stress. So I wish I could, like Tyrell said, really go back and tell myself to really sit down and maybe not go out as much. You know, I might have sacrificed one weekend, but really solidified certain concepts. And that would have made literally the next, 5-6 years a lot easier if I had really just sat down and really absorbed the core fundamentals of each class.
So basically you guys would have put in a lot more time and, you know, effort in your studying, if I'm understanding correctly.
And it's easy for us to say that now because like we have to, and we literally studied all day. Literally in dental school. Yeah. Granted, you of course have a life. You're gonna have a life, but you will be you are studying. Like if you're not a person who studies on weekends, I promise you will be studying on weekends. You have to. Yeah. But now that we've seen that we're able to do that, I think we both wish we would have done that a little bit more in undergrad because we would have been so much farther ahead now, if that makes sense.
Right. Yeah. Of course. You know, last question. It was a lot, you know, obviously a lot of students apply to dental schools and a majority of them, you know, they don't even get an interview or they don't get in. Mm-hmm. And, you know, in regards with Tufts, I'm sure there were a lot of students who were probably just as qualified as you guys, but, you know, they didn't get in and you guys did. So what do you think it was about you two, like, that just made you stand out as a candidate and the dental school was like, we want them?
I personally think for me, I actually had a fellowship with this nonprofit organization. They're not around anymore, but they were called Oral Health America. And because I did that fellowship program, on top of like I did 2 summer programs also. There's a program called SMDEP, and there's a program in Texas called SPEP2 that Texas A&M / Baylor College of Dentistry. So I did 2 summer programs and I did a fellowship. But really through that fellowship, I met a lot of people. I met a lot of admissions officers. Like I met a lot of people. Right. And literally when I was applying, the same people I met, I would shoot them an email, you know, and I would literally lean on my connections. And because they were able to meet me and speak to me while I was doing the fellowship, they had a better vision of me than they did of somebody they just read about on a piece of paper. And I think that went a long way. And granted, I think that anybody can foster those relationships. You know, I think that if you're really serious about going to a certain school, I would go to that school. Yeah. I would literally walk into the admissions department, shake hands. Even if it's, I mean, granted, of course you don't want to come off as being, you know, abrasive, of course not. But if I just tap in once every 3 months, hey, how are you doing? Nice to see you again. Just, you know, looking at this, whatever. So they know your face and they can kind of get a sense of who you are as a person, a sense of your character. I think that goes a long way. And I think that really, really did help me when it came to me getting into dental school.
Yeah. I'd say I agree definitely with, you know, the network that I built. You know, me getting into dental school is like a very long process. You know, I didn't necessarily want to go to dental school coming into undergrad, you know, off top. So I, you know, started meeting a lot of other students that wanted to go to dental school, and then through that met up with a lot of like admissions directors, mentors within the field, a lot of practicing dentists that I was able to, you know, like talk to, get advice from. And they know a lot of people who might have been in admissions or went to a certain school that know people in admissions or little things like that. So, you know, after meeting a few like really good dental mentors, actually, just continued to build those relationships over the years. So as I was transitioning more into learning more about dentistry and taking those classes that I knew I would need to get into dental school, I'm still keeping up with them and updating them about like my journey. So I feel like it was a collective of, eventually the application that I was able to put together, the whole package of, being a psychology major, finding out that dentistry is what I really wanted to do, going through the whole journey of actually picking up the classes that I need, becoming successful at that, making that pivot with my coursework, and people being able to see like, oh, okay, he's capable of doing this. Like, this is something he can actually pick up, So showing them the ability that like, okay, I'm coming from my GPA not being the best to, being willing to go do a master's program to build the GPA up more. And so all the while I'm doing all this, like I'm keeping in touch with these people, and they're seeing the growth overall, not only as a student, but they're seeing me, take some time out to go to an NDA conference, take some time out to go to this conference, take some time out to go meet with this dentist. And, if they tell, oh, there's a dentist I know in the city, like, you're going to be home in Maryland for a little while, like, go talk to this dentist. Like, little things like that, where you're showing that, like, your commitment to it, and you're showing that, like, you're willing to put in the work. They're willing to put in the work with you. They're willing to work with you, help you with that, with your, your personal statements, or putting your application together, help you, telling you about different summer programs, telling you about this person to go meet. And like, as you're building all this, you're still obviously like, you're growing as an applicant and building your resume up, but at the same time, they're getting to know who you are, and they're getting to see what you're willing to put in to become successful at the end of the day. So I feel like the fact that they're, investing in you early, and you're obviously, meeting the challenge that they're placing in front of you, they know once you get to dental school, you'll be able to adjust to anything that, is thrown at you. And they know that you're willing, like, again, you're willing to adapt to the situation, like if it's going to be your hand skills is down, they know you're willing to, they know you can, not only will you be willing to step up to the plate, but you know how to find, you can problem solve to get to, okay, do I need to get a tutor for this? Do I need to do this? Do I need to, get somebody, an upperclassman, to come help me with my hand skills, or like talk to these people, or get this type of study group, like whatever you need to do, they know you're resourceful enough to get to that point. And, at the end of the day, like, people are going to be willing to roll the dice on things that they see are as more sure shots, like,
yeah.
First, like Alder Tyler said, like somebody who may be really good at the classroom, but they don't know what type of person they are, or, little things like that. And they can really vouch for you. They can really vouch for your character at that point.
Yeah.
It's huge.
Okay. Awesome. And thank you so much for, answering my questions. That was really helpful.
Yeah,
I'll definitely be sure to use that.
Yeah, no, man. And if you honestly,
valuable.
If you ever have any other questions, of course, you can just reach out to us. And I mean, hey, we know each other now, so
yeah,
whatever you need,
awesome.
let us know.
Thank you. You guys are a big help.
No problem at all. No
Awesome.
problem at all. Everybody, we hope that you enjoyed this session. If you all would like to see more sessions like this, just let us know in the comment section below. Please do not forget to hit the subscribe button and the notification bell so that you know whenever we post new content. And also, if you like the video, go ahead and hit the like button below. We always appreciate it. We always want to continue to bring you new content. So that definitely shows us that we're doing the right job.
Yeah.
Once again, Nick, thank you so much for
Thank you.
showing everybody or letting everybody in on your current situation. And we definitely hope the best for you.
Best
we're
of luck,
sure
man.
we're sure you will be all right, man.
Same to you guys. Hope you do really well in your clinic right now, right?
Yeah, man.
Project. Well, yeah.
Yeah, man. Yep, got a
Good
project
luck.
finish right now. So thanks again, Nick, and everybody else. We'll see y'all later.